My fiance, 24 male, and I, 24 female, have been dating for 6 years. He proposed to me a few months ago, which was the happiest moment of my life. We set our wedding date for this December. However, after what happened last night, I'm seriously considering breaking up with my fiance and unsure if I'm an idiot. My fiance brother and I were walking back to our car from dinner at a nice restaurant. The car was parked pretty far away, and the place was packed, so we had to walk quite some distance. It was late at night, and as we were walking, a person on a bike came to the side of us, stopped us, and demanded we give everything we had. My fiance panicked and just ran away, but my brother, after talking to the man for a couple of minutes, jumped on him. And a long story short, my brother kicked his butt. The man had no weapon, it was just a fake one. I called my fiance after that and told him everything was fine and that we'd pick him up. My fiance seemed a bit shaken, but I explained everything was all right, and my fiance thanked my brother a lot. However, I felt extremely weird and disappointed that my fiance ran away. I understand it was his natural instinct, but just seeing my brother take the attacker down in comparison to my fiance just running away, I just feel like I've lost a lot of love for my fiance after last night. I spoke with my brother this morning to get his opinion, and he said I should still give my fiance a chance, that my fiance loves me, and that what happened last night was not a normal occurrence. However, I told him I just got a massive ick, and I don't think the ick will ever go. Am I the idiot for considering breaking up with my fiance? My issue is he ran away and left you behind to defend yourself. If his instinct was to turn away, he should have grabbed you to run away with him. Even when my husband and I are out and it's dark, he'll tighten his grip on my hand, put his other arm around me, and walk faster while shielding me to keep me safe. Not once has he just left me. Yeah, that part. Did he call the police or get help? Like, where did he run to? He had a flight response, potentially like a reflex, but he didn't check on OP, and he didn't go get help. And those two actions or inactions speak to the kind of husband he'll be. I agree. What if OP's brother hadn't been present? OP, ask your brother what would have happened to you if he hadn't have been there, and your fiance had pulled a roadrunner without looking for help. The idea that your partner might run on you is unsettling. I've experienced this ick you've described. It's really difficult to recover from that, OP. He will never have your back. Oh my gosh, a roadrunner? I swear to goodness, he was sitting under the bushes, scared. What the heck? Whether the change in your feelings about your fiance makes you an idiot or not, you would not be doing either of you any favors by staying with him out of guilt. You feel what you feel, and your feelings are valid for you, and that's all that matters. So here's the deal. I, 28 female, have an espresso machine that I saved for years to buy. This is not just any coffee maker. It's a top-of-the-line fancy espresso machine that cost me over $2,000. I've always been super protective of it because I've invested so much time and money into my coffee hobby. Recently, my sister, 25 female, came to visit me for a week, and I explicitly told her that she could use my kitchen, but not the espresso machine. I have a regular coffee maker she could use instead. I made it clear that my espresso machine was off limits. It's delicate and requires special care. Well, what do you know? On the third day of her visit, I came home from work to find her sitting on my couch, sipping on a latte made from my machine. At first, I thought I was going to pass out from the sheer rage and disbelief. I confronted her, and she shrugged it off and said, "You weren't home, so I thought it would be fine." I couldn't believe her audacity. I told her to pack her things and leave my house immediately. It escalated into a huge fight, and she accused me of being too uptight about a stupid coffee maker. Now my parents are blowing up my phone, saying I overreacted and that I'm being selfish. But I don't think I am. I trusted her, but she completely disrespected my boundaries. Am I the idiot for kicking her out over this? Yes, it may just be a coffee machine, but you told her not to use it, and she did. Not the idiot. You weren't home, so she thought it would be okay. Meaning if you didn't find out, you'd never know. You set a boundary and she broke it. So essentially, she has no respect for you because she thought you wouldn't be home and she thought it would be okay, even though you said it wasn't okay. Other people's opinions don't matter, and it's nobody else's business but yours and your sister's. It's not just the coffee machine. She was sly and sneaky. The minute you were gone, she did the one thing you told her not to do. You did not overreact. She probably went through your drawers too. You are the idiot. If it was my sister, I would have shown her how to use it properly. Your sister is forever and a machine is a machine. I think too many people here are addicted to coffee and it's clouding their judgment. Yes, your sister's dumb, but heck, that's one heck of a reaction. She never even mentioned if the machine was broken, so I will assume it's fine. Yikes, I would hate to be this person's significant other. A huge red flag that you can't control your emotions and anger. I, 38 female, and my husband, 41, have been together for 12 years and married for 10. We have a preteen daughter and I want to leave him. The problem is that it's not over anything dramatic, so my family's extremely against it. I'm Korean American, second generation, and my husband is first generation. And in Korea, men do zero housework. My friends who are immigrants are shocked any man does any housework. I was raised more in an equal family. My mom and dad are both doctors and both do some of the housework, but my mom definitely does more. I didn't live in a huge city for medical school and residency, so honestly, my husband was about one of 10 Korean men my age then. My ex was white and I loved him. He was also a medical student at the time, but my parents refused to let me marry him because he wasn't Korean. I really regret it. I married my husband because my parents wanted it, and he was close by and the right age. We don't get along. He was raised very traditional and wasn't expected to ever wash a plate. He is, by Western standards, pretty misogynistic. But life was okay until he was laid off 2 years ago because he was busy, and so I felt like I had to do all the housework. He was in tech but worked on something that had been depreciated, and he had a hard time finding new work. He made 6 figures in his previous role but now struggles to make the same. We could move, but he refuses to be close to his family. His family really doesn't like me, as I'm an emergency room doctor and have calls, so I sometimes can't be home to tuck my child in. He never did any housework before the layoff. Now he still doesn't, but maybe because I let it go for so long, he thinks me wanting him to do it now is me looking down on him now that he isn't working because he sees it as demeaning him. My mother-in-law was a stay-at-home mom her whole life and doesn't believe a career and motherhood go together. However, everyone knows I make most and now all of the money, and it makes her hate me because she feels like her son is being emasculated. He feels like that too, so he puts me down for thinking that I'm a bad mother when I go to shifts that require him to be at home with our daughter. I think he might be suffering from depression, but he and his family don't believe in mental health and have yelled at me for suggesting seeing a therapist. The last straw was last weekend. I came home after a conference, and the house was a mess. My daughter had only eaten McDonald's and frozen pizza because my husband refused to cook. I bought all of the ingredients, and it was extremely simple to make fried rice. I even cooked the rice. Even though I was on 60-plus hours a week, I did all the cooking, cleaning, and most of the childcare as I picked her up and dropped her off from school. I will admit I was against divorce until my friend divorced. She suffered a pretty toxic marriage for 15 years and divorced 2 years ago. She is now much happier and tells me it's way better than being with her ex. I want to leave, but my family's extremely against it, as no one in my family's divorced, and it's seen as extremely taboo. They say I'll ruin my child if I do, and my parents told me they won't help me do anything if I leave because I'm shaming them. I'm torn, but I can't stand this anymore. I've told my husband at least 4 times I want a divorce, and he just says he has no idea why I want it, even when I spell out in bullet points what he needs to do to make things right. Then he just ignores them and complains I'm nagging when I point out what he's doing wrong. My mom is always telling me I must not be communicating, but I have many times and I'm just ignored. Lady, you married him to please your family, which hasn't worked out for you. Now you want to stay with him to please your family. Also, it's not going to go well. Do you want your daughter to think this is normal? You need to model the adult relationships you want her to have. OP's doing more harm to her daughter by staying in this toxic relationship. Kids aren't stupid. They will eventually see how miserable their mother is and how poorly their father treats her. That child will grow up thinking it's acceptable to be treated like a doormat and to be forced to marry whoever their family deems fit. OP's already supporting her child and husband, so she's shown that she doesn't need him to be financially independent. So why does she keep letting him live off her and treat her like a doormat? Her life would be so much better without him, and after going low contact with her family. Exactly. You're a doctor, for crying out loud. You deserve to live your own life. Leave. You are clearly a smart, educated woman, and your husband and family don't appreciate that. If your husband felt emasculated, why didn't he go back to school in a subject that would allow him to make the money he was making? He's lazy and a terrible husband and father. Let him go home to mommy, and she can wait on him hand and foot. Last year, my friend Kelsey moved to a new city about 4 hours away. She invited me to stay the weekend, and I said sure. While planning, she asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I didn't mind. She could arrange whatever. As long as I can hang out with her, it's all good. The one thing I did plan for was for us to go to a concert that Saturday afternoon that both of us were looking forward to. Saturday, we went out into the city and were walking around. She'd point to various shops and I'd say sure. We'd go in and look around. I thought we were having a great time. She did ask me a couple of times what I wanted to do, and I said I didn't know. If she knew of anything fun, let me know. But I also said just what we were doing was nice. All in all, we walked around, got a bite to eat, looked at a few shops, and then it was time for dinner with her family. We were supposed to meet them at a specific train station. However, they missed their train. Kelsey seemed irritated, but I figured it was due to that and worried we'd miss our reservations. I tried to assure her it'd be okay, even calling the restaurant to say we'd be a little late. When her parents arrived, however, she sat next to her mom on the train, glaring at me the entire way to the restaurant. I was baffled as it was a 180. As we sit down to eat, her mother asks what we did that day. Before I can speak, Kelsey says, nothing. She didn't know what she wanted to do. I chuckled a little and was going to say I had a good time when Kelsey interrupted and said, it's not cute. It's actually really annoying. I was taken aback because she said nothing about being annoyed all day. She was making little jabs at me for not coming up with ideas. Even her parents were side-eyeing her. It was pretty embarrassing. I really didn't know what to do. If she had said something earlier, we could have talked, but I didn't want to make things more awkward for her family. The whole dinner she gave me nasty looks. Eventually, we parted ways with her family and went back to my hotel. She's still irritated. I asked her where this came from and why she didn't bring it up all day. She told me it shouldn't be up to her to plan this. I was taken aback because she never asked me to plan anything. Come morning, I reached out to her to ask what time we were leaving for the concert. She gave me an attitude. I finally said, you know what? I'll forward you your ticket and sell mine. If you're still this irritated with me, I don't think we should go. Suddenly, she started crying, saying I was unfair and I should just apologize. I apologized at dinner and the hotel for not coming up with things to do, but I was also happy with what she came up with. And she should have communicated better. I did as I promised and left. I was able to get a refund from the venue for my ticket. I got an early train back. Kelsey's still very upset with me and says she wasn't wrong. Am I the idiot? Not gonna lie, I absolutely hate planning other people's trips. I hate wandering around aimlessly. I get where she's coming from, but she acted like a total idiot to you instead of communicating like a grown-up ahead of time that you needed to plan the trip. Moreover, it will always be Kelsey's responsibility to suggest the best places to see and things to do when she hosts visitors. Heck, honestly, if I haven't seen a friend for a while, walking around shops, I don't even have to buy anything, grabbing a bite to eat, and just spending the time talking and catching up is the best plan for me on short trips, because who wants a jam-packed schedule of fun activities where you don't even get to really talk to each other? This is definitely on OP's friend for, at a minimum, not communicating better. Disagree. Nothing is as bad as having an I don't mind person staying with you. You are the idiot. She kept asking what you wanted to do, and you brushed her off, leaving her to plan the whole day and try to cater to your taste without knowing what you'd like. You say she didn't bring it up, but it sounds like she was trying very hard to get any bit of suggestion out of you. That sounds tough and mentally trying. I'd be frustrated too, and I gotta say, the chuckling would have sent me over the edge. I, 37 male, met my sister in a commonly visited city a few weekends back. My wife, 37, came with me and my 2 kids, a preteen female and a young grammar school male. The restaurant was nice, and she asked the waitress to take all of us a picture, and she said, "That's not part of my job," and walked away. I offered to take the picture instead, but she wanted all of us to be in it, so whatever. When the bill came, she snatched it and put a 0 over the picture. I would have tipped her cash, but my wife would have told the waitress to give it back, and I didn't want to embarrass her like that. Anyway, when we were driving back to our hotel, I told her that I thought tipping 0 was a bit mean. I mean, personally, I would have just taken the picture, but I guess in the job description, nowhere did it say take pictures for customers. I also said her reaction was a bit over the top. She said that if she didn't want to do stuff like that, working in a tourist city wasn't for her. Before I could say anything, she put on her AirPods and straight up ignored me. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I'm with your wife on this. To be honest, it takes a person, 5 seconds to snap a photo? Thus, you'll probably get a nice tip. Instead, the waitress is a witch. She deserves to be stiffed. We are so auto-programmed to tip no matter what that service and demeanor have gone out the window with some serving staff. The auto-programming is one problem with a system that allows waitstaff to be paid under minimum wage and have to rely on tips. Tipping becomes less of a reflection of the service and more of something people feel obligated to do. Some folks will say if you can't afford to tip X minimum percent, you can't afford to eat out. It's considered part of the cost of service. He seems to be like those husbands who take everyone else's side but the wife. I would have done the same if the waitress answered me that way. I bet he found the waitress somewhat attractive. If he hadn't, I bet he wouldn't have cared. Exactly the last sentence. Making all those arguments about why the waitress is right to act that way, it's weird. Dude, your wife didn't make a scene and didn't call out the server. All she did was decide not to tip due to poor service. That's not over the top. The server was unnecessarily rude about a pretty routine and simple customer request. So yeah, you are the idiot.